All right, it is 9:02 a.m. This is capturing the criminal activity that's documented by the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. As I am inside of my leasing office, you are able to see that the supposed sun, is not over the, and this is indeed the light source. It's right here hovering over me through the window of my leasing office, directly above my head, which is the pattern of conduct. In the same position on March 22nd, same time of year, 2022, while Los Angeles Sheriff's Department are group stalking at 101 South Main Street, Suite D, in Pomona, California, after I documented the light source remaining over me on Route 61 headed westbound toward Pomona. So that's the light source remaining over me en route to that venue, which is the pattern of conduct, in speaking to what is a light source as opposed to the sun. And anyone and everybody in that relevant position is engaging in the P.O.C. And that's exactly what the body of evidence consistently reveals, as you also have them sharing in what is the phenomenon, that is crossing paths with engineered light, being present in this engineered light that you see also all inside of my apartment. This is on the ceilings and in the back of my apartment when the light source is outside of the opposite windows of the living room, and while it's above me inside of my bedroom window, and my ceiling in my bedroom is illuminated with light. That's engineered light that the people of the state and state actors such as the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department exhibited while they were engaging in activity creation in the path, which is the demonic P.O.C. The identification of a group stalker, and those are group stalkers that are wearing badges. And today on what is April 30th, 2024, you're going to recall, first of all, where I was at on this day in 2022. This is following Stephanie Ortiz, which is the people of the state, engaged in criminal summoning in concert with the Fontana Police Department, and you witnessed that iteration of terrorism, America's version of terrorism, underway on Seville, the same street where I am present at 10:40 in the morning, as early as 9:35 in the morning, and yet you have what is at 5:55 p.m. The entity is maintaining a light source there, as I reminded you about, while at the same time I'm looking at it, capturing on video in 2024 at the same exact time, outside of my bedroom window, inside of the same exact apartment where the entity is engaging in what is supposedly rising the sun. That's the P.O.C. Okay, and this is also what I captured on April 30th, 2022. This is the day after I arrived at the intersection of Arrow and Euclid Avenue, getting off of Route 66 after leaving Upland Public Library following criminal summoning, which is a threat to your life and liberty, by the way. I'm capturing the light source at 4:18 p.m. while I'm facing the Upland Public Library at 450 North Euclid Avenue. And I'm there in the morning on this day in 2022. This is the next day at 8:30, approximately 8:38 in the morning, showing you at the same intersection, the light source is hovering over me, revealing also, and you can speak to that, and you can listen to what I'm speaking to. And with regard to the pattern of conduct, that's not the sun that's going to be at that same intersection, at that, even over me, at that time, that duration of time, 4:18 p.m., and also at 8:38 in the morning, remaining over my head, even en route to that intersection. That's the pattern of conduct, and that's the criminal pattern of conduct, revealing what is demon possession and a secret system of group stalking that is identified through that scientific impossibility. That's the environment that is not the natural environment. It's a maintenance of a light source, which is how demons, this is the condition of those engaging in that criminal system, are maintaining what is presence around you, as referred to as relevant positioning. A position relevant to the location of the targeted individual, one whom is the center of the universe by that demon-possessed population, which is creating a public safety concern. The entity is maintaining a demonic environment, and the entity is of this condition, demon possession, and they also exhibit that independently apart from that environment that is maintained. As you saw the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department exhibit on March 22nd, 2022, by virtually just opening and closing your doors and engineer light is ricocheting all over the place. That's eerily similar. That's exactly, as a matter of fact, the same thing that you've seen Universal Waste Systems Incorporated engage in, just driving the vehicle, just driving on the streets under what's supposedly the sun, which, by the way, yesterday at 9:03 in the morning, the same time that I'm capturing this video today, this light source was not visible through the window. I was outside standing in the parking lot, and the light source is in perfect alignment to me, which is the P.O.C., which is nowhere near Upland Public Library, which is where I am today, and I'm capturing video as I'm standing outside at 9:56 in the morning. 9:56 in the morning, you know where this light source is going to be? It's going to be here, right over me, as you saw yesterday, as the entity engages in on an ongoing basis. And you saw yesterday at 9:03 a.m., this light source is hovering over building 1810, which is in that direction over there. And it is also speaking to what is the maintenance of a light source, while Universal Waste, this is nothing other than a demon operating a commercial vehicle who was crossing path, all right, group stalking, in other words, and engineer light moves all over building 1818 right in front. And you see that on video. I even created a snippet video so you can witness what is the federal prosecution for terrorism terrorism via directed light, which is what the demon possessed are doing while they are monitoring and group stalking you. They're also engaged in federal stalking on the venue of the internet. This is the identical conduct that the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department engaged in at the same time at 9:03 a.m., where there is no sun, there is no shared sky space between those demons, as I documented at 101 South Main Street, at the Mestizo Cafe in Pomona, California. And while I'm standing in front of today, I'm inside of my leasing office, not facing building 1810, facing the hillside, not in the same position of being outside in the parking lot on the facing the front of building 1810. I'm inside of my leasing office, and this is where the light source is located. That's speaking to what is the group stalking that the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department were engaged in as well. In addition to that, you have what is under no circumstances going to be the light source over the Upland Public Library, which is where I was located on this day in 2022. March 22nd, 2022 at 9:03 a.m. is the same time of year. This is documentation of what is the maintenance of an unnatural environment around me while I'm subject to what is state surveillance, which is group stalking that's practiced by government, and it's doing it in concert with the people of the state. And they are obsessively group stalking by law enforcement agencies who are of this demonic condition, and they engage in what is the most psychotic methods, the most terrorizing strategies that they can fathom, and that is why they use things such as helicopter, and that's why they engage in demonic tactics such as amplification and sensational activity. And they're also engaged in what is federal stalking on the venue of the internet while they are aware of the fact that you are documenting it. This knowledge is also illustrated through what is impossible: the light activity. The specific placement of the light activity all around me, even inside of my apartment, is also speaking to what is the ongoing corporate knowledge of the demon-possessed who are physically surrounding in that environment, including in the airspace. And they are wearing badges affiliated with the police and sheriff's departments, and they are group stalking with the people. And they are maintaining real-time knowledge while they are engaging in what is terrorism. And that's what I'm documenting in the workplace. It's 9:03 a.m. while that light source is right over me. And I want to show you what is distinct from being in relevant position to building 1810. I stood at that parking lot location while Universal Waste, being a demon, as you saw that demonic presence. And that demonic presence is exhibited by the engineered light that moved all over the apartment building over there. The light source was hovering over this apartment building here as I was facing this. The entity is maintaining the light source in perfect alignment with me. That's why you're seeing it outside of the my leasing office. In addition, you know that when I'm inside of my apartment, like you see on Saturday and Sunday, the light source is not visible from my living room window while I'm inside of my leasing office. I have a restricted window space, meaning from my apartment, there's wall space and I can't see past it. And so from 1806, my apartment number 6, I can't see what I'm looking at now outside of my leasing office. I would not be able to see what's over building 1810 like I captured at the same time. The entity is stalking with a light source. The entity is stalking with light, and the people of the state are group stalking in that environment. That's what the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department were engaged in. It is currently, again, 9:10 a.m. And this is the entity. Again, you saw engineered light inside of my apartment this morning. This is speaking to what the entity was engaged in on April 30th, 2022. The ongoing maintenance of a demonic environment, which is documentation of what is terrorism by a public entity that's keeping you under surveillance in the most psychotic methods, highly malicious methods, those that are so far-fetched, those that are so disconcerting and disturbing and deranged. It is supposed to falsely depict that targeted individual, trying to assert it, because what vocabulary do you assign to what is impossible light activity moving all over buildings and whatnot? I have assigned a nomenclature to it. I have assigned what is a consistent vocabulary so that you understand what I'm referencing. But this is entirely demonic. Stalking in helicopters is entirely unheard of. It is conjured up in the pit of hell. It is highly malicious and practiced by a government for that very purpose. Understand that. And that also you're going to prosecute for. So I just want to make sure that you understand that this is occurring in the workplace. The entity is engaging in terrorism even while that unnatural environment is occurring and quote unquote disappearing while they seek to conceal that light source, which you already know remains there. You are never stalking in a natural environment and then going about the next day as though you've forgotten what was already documented. By virtue of what is the evidence of the pattern of conduct, because you're engaged in a demonic imitation of the natural environment, the sunrise that's occurring on the hillside on one day, that's supposedly the sunrise on every other day, because that's what you engaged in on the first time, and this is what the entity is surrounded by. And once you engage in what is stalking with engineered light, when you have multiple shadows, when you have light appearing above your head, when you have light appearing through what are closed blinds, magnified in size, showing even leaves on trees blowing through closed blinds, while a light source is literally on the opposite side of your apartment, not even on that side, supposedly providing a false, yet albeit the illusion of sun versus sunlight, you will never forget that evidence, and it is not separate. It is an ongoing documentation consistently showing what is an unnatural environment, an engineered environment, as I have referenced it. And this is exactly what the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department were documented engaging in. I documented the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department group stalking while I took the Metrolink to Los Angeles in July of 2020. That is also the same time of year. The entity was maintaining a light source that was never rising over the hillside in Los Angeles. It was rising over me while I was remaining in Ontario, walking to Upland, California, to the Metrolink train station, getting on Metrolink and traveling, and that light source place of origin in the morning was nowhere near a hillside. That's the evidence that you're also remembering that the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department is part of group stalking as I came to Los Angeles at that time. Also, the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department documented in 2021, October of 2021, daylight savings time. It's still relevant, and the entity is maintaining a light source setting in Palmdale. The light source is over through my hotel room, which I gave you a vivid illustration of. 11:24 in the morning, the light source is remaining over me. You already know that. And that's how you know what the entity is engaging in, because it's entirely impossible and unnatural. And that is, let me be clear, it is equally unnatural to engage in stalking somebody in helicopters. It is equally unnatural to engage in what is flying in circles for a prolonged period of time. What sort of dizzy demon does that? An obsessed stalker that needs to be put in a straitjacket. And they are filling police departments and sheriff's departments. They're group stalking. And they're doing it in concert with the people of the state. And they're doing it in the workplace, okay? A speaker companies is a malicious guise under which the same exact criminal system is underway. I remain subject to it by the people of the state who are calling my office, monitoring me, engaged in federal stalking on the venue of the internet. Every email is a part of the criminal system to keep me under surveillance. The entity is maintaining criminal presence in the path. All of those that live at the venue are engaging in what is group stalking. All of those that are coming onto the grounds, remember the specific environment is where I work and where I live. They are present, engaging in the same exact criminal elements of monitoring. And this is speaking to what is the punishment for the people of the state that are providing that level of dedication to that criminal system, engaging in that level of terrorism. And this is the entity that's subject to what is federal prison. All right, and this is what I'm documenting that's underway, and this is in the workplace, okay? You are subject to sexual violence while the entity that is keeping you under surveillance is in any way touching your person, is in any way invading your privacy, and you're doing that, keeping the target individual under surveillance inside of their private space. Engaging in what is documented acts of terrorism via directed light while you're physically indisposed, while you're in the engaging in what is private activity, which is what these sex offenders do, engaging in what is amplified audible activity while they know you're physically indisposed inside of the private space. That is a violent sex offender, okay, by definition. Okay, that's literally what they do, and that's what they engage in, and they do it routinely. The state and third parties alike, while they are also engaging in, do not forget, what is federal stalking in violation of Title 18, 22618, subsections 1 and 2. Every aspect of your life is placed under surveillance, and it is also occurring in the specific environment where you work and where you live, and that's the identity of what are third party and state actors. And that's exactly what the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department is surrounded with. It is currently, again, 9:15 a.m. This is the entity's maintenance of the light source. Whether it is subdued, whether it's covered up, the pattern of conduct is already established. Whether you capture the phenomenon one time, that is the pattern of conduct. The ordinary target individual does not have to go years and years and years of documenting what I have established as precedent, showing the fact that the government is indeed engaged in what is group stalking, highly demonic and twisted criminal activity. All right, that is designed to literally snuff out the life of the one whom the government is unlawfully and without any legitimate cause or purpose placing under surveillance. All right, it is a threat to your life, your physical safety, your liberty, as the entity that engages in criminal summoning, such as Stephanie Ortiz, acting on behalf of the entity, did on April 29, 2022, because she's a violent sex offender, engaging in what is bathroom monitoring with the people of the state, and hostile to the fact, because you also know that you're being documented while you're engaged in federal stalking on the venue of the internet, and you're a whole psychopath and a violent sex offender who then is hostile because you're being exposed as the sex offender that you are. Rather than ceasing to engage in that sexual violence, rather than ceasing to engage in that stalking, the demon possessed engage in more of it. They pose more of a threat, and that's the public safety concern that is presented upon exposure of the criminal system of federal group stalking and monitoring, which the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department is directly engaged in. There is no sun that's going to be over the San Bernardino Superior Court at 12:47 p.m. Not when it's remaining here from the beginning to the end of the day. There is no sun that's going to be over the Rancho Cucamonga Superior Court at 9:42 in the morning, at 10:30 in the morning. There is no sunlight either that's going to swipe against the court building, as you see in that video captured at 10:29 in the morning on June 23rd, 2022, same time of year, daylight daylight savings time. That's the same demonic and criminal conduct that you saw exhibited by Universal Waste Systems as they were crossing path, group stalking under the light source that's remaining here over me at Alvarado Gardens. This is the pattern of conduct that is underway, and it is 9:17 a.m., and this is P.O.C.